Did you know that the up-and-coming game Starfield has 4 times the amount of dialogue of previous Elder Scrolls game Skyrim? You're listening to the Xbox Hub Podcast, the official podcast of the TheXboxHub.com. For the latest Xbox news, reviews, videos and opinions, make sure you visit the TheXboxHub.com. But for now, settle down, get comfy and open your ears for some podcast delights. Hello and welcome to the Xbox Hub Official Podcast, episode 148. My name is Gareth Bray, I'm your host. And before I introduce our lovely guests, I just want to apologise. We've been away for a couple of months. It's all down to me. I had a death in the family. I'm laughing about it, but it's been a long time. So I've had to sort a lot of that out. And also, I've had flu now for 2 weeks, which everyone's had. Poor Richard's got it now. So I apologise. It's been a long time, but we're back. We're back for the new year. And on my virtual left is Mr. Paul Renshaw. How are you doing, Paul?
Hello there. Good afternoon, Gareth, or good evening, as it may be. Yeah. How are you doing now? Are you all recovered?
I'm all recovered. I'm still recovering from the flu. It's still there, still lingering, but it's all right. And on my virtual right is Mr. Richard Dobson. How are you doing, Richard?
Not too bad. I sound worse than I feel, but yeah, not too bad.
He's braved it on here, the flu. And we're back.
Some of us had to.
I know, not like me. Just falls at the first hurdle. But we're back in the new year. Excited. What we're going to do today? We're going to do a little bit of news. Look about the games we've been playing over Christmas, and then a little preview of 2023. What have we been doing this week, though? Let's start with Paul. Paul, what have you been doing this week?
Hello. Well, this week, following on from what you were saying about your death in the family, we also had one. My 90-year-old grandfather passed away just before Christmas. He just went to sleep one night and didn't wake up the next day. I think, if you're going to go, that's the way to go.
Definitely.
So, yeah, we've been up to Scotland for the funeral. So that's really my big news for this week. It's all a bit sad and depressing, but hopefully it's out the way now. And we can sort of move onwards and upwards. New year, new opportunities, exciting, all them cliches.
Exactly.
So, see how we get on.
Yeah.
Exactly, Gary.
Exactly. What about you, Richard? I was about to say any deaths in your family, but I'm not going to say that.
No, there hasn't.
Keep it light.
I've just been to the cinema, really, sort of. We've got a monthly pass, so we're trying to save money where we can and use that a bit more often. So we've been to see Avatar: The Way of Water. Ooh. And on Monday I went to see A Man Called Otto as well.
Let's start with Avatar. What was it like, Richard?
Basically the same film but longer. So if you enjoyed the first one, then you'll enjoy the second one. I mean, even plot wise, it's almost identical.
Right.
And then I read, without giving too much away, something happens at the end, and then I read something afterwards that a certain character will be appearing in the next 3 films that he's got planned.
Right.
And I was just like, so it is literally going to be the same every film then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is the character Batman?
No, he's not in the first one either.
Oh, I'm going to bother watching it then.
I don't fancy it. I'm not going to watch this film. But it's done very well. The box office, it's had some pretty good reviews as well. Yeah, so I think generally the people I've spoken to have said what you just said as well. But the reviewers seem to have liked it. And it's done pretty amazing. So we're going to see more of these. Maybe we're going to get to see the game at some point. They've done a little thing
this year.
Yeah. Paul, what?
Hello?
Oh no, I've asked you already. This is. I'm rusty. I'm rusty.
Still a funeral, I'm afraid.
Richard, what was the other film you said?
A Man Called Otto, which is the new Tom Hanks film. I think based on a Swedish film that's based on a Swedish book. about, unsurprisingly, a man called Otto who lives on his own. And then you learn about why he lives on his own, and he gets some new neighbours, and they sort of help turn his life around. Sort of, it's like even if you read the basic plot, you know exactly what's going to happen throughout it and what happens at the end. But it's a nice melancholic comedy drama, I'd say.
Okay, I know that writer, that Swedish writer. I just read a book by him, and I liked him a lot. I liked his stuff, so I might look forward to that. But is it quite? You kind of know what's going to happen, but that's okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think it sets its stall out fairly early.
Yeah.
With so much sort of Swedish influence, is the Swedish Chef in it? Does anybody at any point go, birdie, bird? Yeah.
No, I don't know why I have to think about it.
Yeah, I love the way you thought about it. Poor Richard's got flu. Don't ask him questions like that.
I was going to say, it's not a great advertisement for sort of going outdoors and mixing with people, really, is it? I've been to the cinema twice. Now look at me. So,
no, this is from my nieces. I'm blaming them for this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the Swedish Chef reference gets me to my recommendations of two things I've watched this week. The first one is a film on Disney. The Muppets, yeah. Is on Disney Plus. It's called The Menu, and it stars Ralph Fiennes. I think it's directed by one of the Succession directors, Mark Malode, and it's Ralph Fiennes plays a chef who has this exclusive restaurant on an island that you have to get by boat, and he's the best chef in the world, and only 12 kind of guests could come to this restaurant to eat, and these 12 guests go there, and then things happen there. That's very surprising, and it isn't what you think, and I can't say anything more about it because it will spoil it, but it's really good. It's really good fun. I really enjoy it. I think Ralph Fiennes is great. It's like a psychological horror thriller drama, but funny as well. Yeah, it's really well. Some great kind of performances in there. It's really worth a lot, especially if you've got Disney Plus. It's free. Give it a go. It's really worth it. And the other one is a series I watched on Apple Plus called I don't know. It's called Apple Plus. Is it? It's called Slow Horses, and Slow Horses stars Garrett Oldman. And the premise of it is Slow Horses are this nickname for these group of spies from MI5 who are a bit rubbish. Basically, they have been sort of like sacked from the main MI5 place, or done something not very good. Like this at the start of the first 5 minutes, this kind of young up and coming spy fails a simulation, ends up with loads of people being blown up at Stansted Airport. So he gets deported to this place called Slough House, run by Gary Oldman, and all the other spies there have done something terrible, and this place is a mess. It's like an horrible office in London. And it's really good fun. It's very British, but it has that kind of spy thriller kind of espionage, and I've really enjoyed it. I've got 2 seasons on. I've kind of it's only 6 episodes each. But if you get a chance, you've got Apple, give it a go. It's really, it's very good. Gary Oldman's great as well. He plays a sort of like smoking slob of a man, but who's got other talents underneath. Yeah. Good. That's right. Should we go into games? What we've been playing? Yeah.
On an Xbox podcast.
Oh my God. Now some of these will cover what we've been doing over Christmas, and probably because I've sort of been catching up on everything really. But let's start with Richard. What's the game you want to talk about first?
I suppose we should probably talk about God of War Ragnarok.
Oh yeah. Go on.
I'm about halfway through it now. I took a few weeks off from it over Christmas to play Crisis Core, the Final Fantasy remaster.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sold on it, if I'm being honest.
My goodness.
I loved the last one, and I just think this one's a little too similar. So where I'm at now, I'm sort of playing through it, and I'm enjoying the story. The story's taking me along, and that I just feel that because it's very similar to the last one, the bits in between, the stuff that's interesting me is in the story, is just a bit too long.
Whereabouts are you? Can I answer that question?
Without many spoilers, obviously.
I'm with Freya, and we've just met her brother.
Oh, okay, right, yeah. I think, yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. I think I had that for the first couple of hours, I thought, and then it does some surprising stuff. I think, gameplay wise, it does. It's worth. I mean, I looked at it when I've been playing. I've been looking and going, I don't know how this runs on a PS4 at all. Some of it,
no,
but it's very. I think you're right. I think there's a kind of it's very familiar, as in the fights and everything else, but it does do some interesting stuff a bit later on. Keep going with it, Richard. It does.
I'm definitely going to finish it.
Yeah, it does. It changes stuff around quite a bit.
I think I just want the story more than the gameplay.
Yeah,
because I've played this gameplay now for 40, 50 hours.
I mean, the youngsters
across both games anyway.
The youngsters online keep calling it the god of cutscenes.
It's not even that bad.
No, but I think what they refer to it, how it's the cutscenes, the story is the main, thing rather than the gameplay. But I don't think that. Yeah, interesting.
Can I just piggyback on the back of that for a second? I am having, with my newly acquired PS4, real trouble with God of War.
Mm.
It just will not play. I've bought 2 copies on. I bought 2 copies on disc, and I've now bought it digitally and downloaded it, and it just will not play on my PS4 at all. I just get a weird error, CE, and then some numbers.
Oh no!
Googling it says it might be that the hard drive's on the way out, so I've gone out and bought a terabyte SSD and stuck that in and configured it, and every other game I have runs perfectly. But God of War will not play at all. And it's making me sad.
That's mad. If anyone knows why this is the case, please write in.
Absolutely, yes. If you know what the CE number error code means, answers on a postcard.
Have you got a PS Pro or PS4 normal?
I don't know. It cost 150 quid, so I imagine it's a PS4.
Yeah. But it should run.
Big lump of black plastic underneath my telly. So. But yeah, it should run. Everything else runs. I can run Ghost of Satsuma. I can run Final Fantasy Remake. Everything else works brilliantly. But God of War, no. Just doesn't want to know.
That's mad. Well, if you know, please let us know. Paul, what other game have you been playing? Well, you haven't been playing God of War, but what other games have you been playing?
Well, I haven't been playing God of War. I've been playing Final Fantasy Remake, Final Fantasy VII Remake, which I'm really quite enjoying. I'm still not completely sold on the decision to make it an action game rather than a turn-based combat game. But so far, I'm enjoying it. And I've got to say, Tifa looks a lot better in this game than she did in the original. She has a few more polygons to her shape, shall we say. But yeah, that's all gravy. I've really been enjoying Ghost of... Well, I want to call it Ghost of Satsuma, but... I know that's not the name, but that is really good. Have you played that one, guys?
Yes, I have. I've done that.
It's fantastic.
Very good. Yeah.
I love the stealthy sneak about and stab people and be all dishonourable and stuff. It's great. But turning back to the old Xbox briefly.
Are you covering all your games now in one big go rather than going through? You've done 2 already.
Well, I've done that. I've touched on 2.
Okay, right, go on.
You know. If you want me to shut up, Gareth, just say that.
Go on, let's hear the other one.
I have been playing all of the games, as you probably noticed in the run-up till the end of last year with the amount of reviews we had to do.
Yeah.
It was bonkers. Anyway, I want to talk about a strategy game called Strategic Mind Fight for Freedom. And, dear listener, if you do yourself one favour this year, make sure that you do not play this game. It is absolutely dreadful. The cutscenes are laughable. the British generals and even Winston Churchill sound like they're immigrants from Hungary or somewhere like that. The American generals sound like they've come from Mars. It's very bizarre. It doesn't run very well. It's a rubbish game, and it's very badly optimized for the controller. And when I reviewed it, I gave it a grand total of 1 star. And that's mainly because it runs-ish.
What is it? Is it like a kind of civilization type game? Is it like
it's more like a Command and Conquer.
Okay, right.
Where you have units and you have to then go and attack other units. But the controller optimization is so poor that trying to get your guys to do anything is just an exercise in frustration. And yeah, if you want to play a real-time strategy game, go and pick up Command and Conquer for the old Xbox 360.
Okay, brilliant. We won't be playing that.
I wouldn't.
My games are... I'm going to talk about 3 games, but they've been out. But I've just basically been completing loads of games. I was poorly. First one I'm going to talk about. We haven't talked about High on Life here, have we? I don't think we did we? Because it did not come out by the time. So I've finished High on Life, which came out in December on the Xbox. Have you two played High on Life?
I've played until I've beaten the first boss.
Right.
And then just kind of went, meh.
Yeah. Richard, have you played it?
No, I've not.
No, it's done really well on Game Pass. I think it's one of the most popular games on Game Pass that's ever been. It's done big numbers. It's by the Rick and Morty team, voiced by the same people as well. And if you don't know, you do know it. You play this human who has guns that can talk and weapons that can talk, and it's like a first-person shooter. But the main thing about it is the kind of comedy and the writing and the characters you meet around this kind of universe. And the swearing. It's very sweary. It's not for the kids. I really enjoyed it. I mean, I think it gets very the same because you end up the same kind of battles and the same people, and it's a very pretty kind of world, but you do replay the same areas a few times, and the enemies aren't this huge range of enemies, and you see the same kind of team. It gets a bit familiar. It's basically a level and sort of like 7 boss fights, really. And it has some excellent kind of like sort of breaking the third wall kind of stuff all the time. Like the gun's always talking to you, or there's a great bit when you see this kid that's quite annoying, and then you try to shoot the kid, and he goes, "What are you doing? Why are you trying to shoot the kid?" Thinking like that, really, like all the time the gun's talking to you like that, and and all the guns kind of have got different personalities and different voices, and some of the gun mechanics are great. You've got some gun mechanics to all do different things. They can freeze time, so some of that's really interesting. But I think, Paul, your probably reaction is, I think that's been a thing. I think it is. But I enjoyed it. It's only 8 hours long. It's quite a shorty. And it's good to have something a little bit different, because it is very different on the Xbox as well. But yeah, I enjoyed it. You should give it a go, especially when you've got Game Pass. It's worth having a little go.
If you've got Game Pass, it's like a no-brainer, isn't it? Because it is, like you say, very entertaining. I mean, you were saying there about that kid. Did you keep trying to shoot the kid?
Yeah.
And did you manage it?
Yeah. And then someone, I think when you do it, one person goes, "Yeah, he was quite annoying." Yeah, like his mum or something. Yeah. So there's lots of lovely little moments all the time throughout it. It's great, little kind of comedy moments, and it's good. It's good. And there's a little moment you can. They've obviously got the licenses to 3 terrible movies. One sort of like early 90s one about a T-Rex. Another one called Vampire Hookers that you can just watch all the way through if you want to, which is quite good. Good. That's my game. Let's go back to Richard. Richard, what are you going to talk about?
I'll talk about Crisis Core. I'll give it its full name. Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion, which is the remaster of Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII that came out on the PSP 10, 15 years ago, maybe even longer now.
Right.
So it's a prequel to Final Fantasy VII, which is done through the eyes of Zach. You guys are both played Final Fantasy VII, yes.
Yeah.
So you know how Zach is sort of briefly mentioned a couple of times in the main game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is all about him now.
Right. Says
And
Paul and Gareth not really knowing anything about
Oh, no,
Coromir.
I know exactly where Zach is. I just don't want to spoil it for the listeners.
Yeah, I'm trying not to go there myself, even though Final Fantasy VII's 26 years old now or something stupid. But yeah, Crisis Core is all about, you play as Zach, and you learn all about his backstory, basically. But this is a remaster now, so it's more like a remake than a remaster, which is what I put in my review, because the work that's gone into it, it's not just like a simple update of textures and assets. There's so much more. They've basically redone the whole game, and it looks almost on par with Final Fantasy VII Remake in some places. The UI is very similar to the remake now as well, and some of the voice actors are brought in to Crisis Core as well. So it's definitely trying to appeal to those that never played it before, and perhaps those that just picked up Final Fantasy VII Remake and be like, well, here's this whole backstory to one of the characters that you should probably know before Rebirth comes out next year or this year. And I had an absolute blast with it. I think I gave it 4.5 stars out of 5. It's also an action RPG, like Remake is, but it's a little bit simpler. So whereas Final Fantasy VII Remake it was an action RPG, but it still kept the ATB gauge.
Yeah,
it sort of just does away with that, and it makes it a little bit simpler, and it's a lot more streamlined in the process. And I think arguably it's a better combat system than Final Fantasy VII Remake. Because what I agree with what you were saying, Paul, as well. There was just a few things about that combat system that I didn't agree with when I played that, but it's a lot better on Crisis Core. And it's also it's nice to sort of then see these same characters like Aerith and Tifa and Sephiroth are all in Crisis Core and will pop up. And yeah, it's nice to get a bit of backstory to all these characters that for many people we've grown up with and spent a lot of time with.
Right.
Yeah, I've had a really, really good time with it.
Great. Okay.
Excellent. I'll look out for that one.
Good. Paul, last game for you. We're going to do 2.
My last game.
Yeah.
Oh, we're only doing 2 now.
Yeah.
Which one shall I choose then? I'm going to choose another stupid little game, at risk of minor spoilers, called Backpack Twins.
Oh.
And basically, it's a game where you play as twins with backpacks. I mean, you'd never have got it from the title. And in a bit of, sort of fourth wall breaking that even Deadpool would go, phew, that's a bit much. The game talks to you at the beginning and tells you that it's going to put you through a series of trials for no good reason, just to see what happens. And then basically you take control of one or other of these twins and you have to maneuver them through the various levels to the exit where they can meet up. The twins can jump and they can crouch and they can stand on top of each other to reach higher platforms. And that is pretty much the entire game. So take control of a hipster beardy twin with a massive backpack, run him through a level, do some jumping, get to the exit, and then go back and get the other one and bring them to the exit, and rinse and repeat.
Wow.
So yeah, it's okay in small bursts, but at the same time that it was released on the Xbox, it was released on the Switch, and I think it would suit the Switch style of play a lot better. Where you just do 20 minutes while you're on the bus or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it suits that style of gaming more than it does sitting down for a long session in front of the big telly. But, it's okay. It's reasonably good fun. There's speedrun possibilities apparently. But to be honest, by the end of the level, I was that sick of it. I don't want to go back and see if I can do it any quicker. It's just a case of let's go on to the next thing and see what's in there. So, yeah. It's okay.
It's okay. Good. Okay, thank you, Paul. Now, the last two, I'm going to really briefly mention the Cholesterol Protocol. I think Richard reviewed that for us in December. I've just got it, and I've played an hour of it. I really like it. I think it's great.
What can go wrong?
Yeah,
the world's greatest game.
I think it's brilliant. Game. I really enjoy it. I think it looks great. I think it's got a bad deal so far. I'm enjoying myself with it.
I've already forgotten about that game.
Oh, there you go.
Did it not review well then?
No, it got a mixture between sort of like 4s and some 7s. Really, it's in between that, or maybe an 8. But yeah, it didn't review great.
What did you think of it, Richard? What did you give it?
I gave it 3.5 out of 5. Okay. I mean, it's not a bad game. It's just, I think the Dead Space remake will be a lot better.
I think you'll like it. I think you'll really like it, Paul. I think it's fun.
I probably should give it a try, to be honest. It does sound like it's right up my alley.
Yeah, I think I'm playing an hour, so I don't know. So yeah, and also just great to see something visually looking great. I've got COD. At the start of this year, I traded in something with the God of War, and I got COD, and I thought, I always get the COD, play the campaign. First of all, it took me, it put 140 gigs on my machine, and I
thought you were going to say it took 140 hours to do the campaign.
No. Which frightened me a bit, and then when I tried to play the multiplayer, I thought, I'll go quick game of the multiplayer. I went, you need to download something else. I went, no, I'm not going to do this. So the campaign I played, and, visually it looks stunning. It's great to kind of see, the locations, and some of the stuff they do in there is good. It's interesting. There's a couple of old kind of Modern Warfare 2 stuff when they do, like from above, and like you're taking out enemies from below by using a drone or something. And then there's a weird kind of choices they make where you have to sort of like, you're on your own in a couple of bits, and you have to sort of like, you've got no guns, so you have to kind of make bombs and shivs by collecting items, almost like The Last of Us, and like almost stealthed it for a while. I like the fact they tried it, but God, that gets quite annoying. But the main problem with it, it's like a bad action movie, and there's some good performances, but it's just not that well written. It's not that well performed. Those characters are soap and stuff. It's playing up to kind of a stereotype of what they, it's almost become like a little bit of a parody of itself now. And I don't think that's a good thing. It's not smart enough. I was thinking about the first Modern Warfare, and I think that was quite smart. It did some really interesting stuff. And especially the kind of moments when I'm thinking about when you're that prisoner at one point in first person, and you just go through a journey and then you get killed. And then the bit where the nuclear bomb goes off, and there's all those kind of little moments that were kind of like, oh my God, I think that's what made it quite surprising, especially with that campaign. There isn't anything like that here. It looks great. It plays fine. It's good. It plays like a Call of Duty game. But it hasn't got that. It's not one of the best campaigns.
Was Modern Warfare the one where you had to sneak across a field while there were tanks driving around and then shoot somebody?
Yeah, there's a bit
in like a sniper suit.
Yeah, they do this again in this one. Yeah, there's a lot of that in this one as well. Oh my God, what's happened there? Something's come on.
Oh, hello.
Am I right in thinking as well that there's no Call of Duty this year? This is the last one for 2 years.
Yeah, right? That's right. You're going to take a little break. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Because it's been getting a bit stale from what I've been seeing.
Yeah.
And hearing from you again there.
I mean, visually, it's great. I mean, I really like, and I think I have with the Cholesterol, I really like, I'm trying to get excited for this year, which we'll talk about in a minute, with games coming up and seeing what visually they can do, and there's some moments with that you go, wow, this is great. But, it's just I'm glad I got through it. I'm like, oh, done. Good. Thank you. Trade that in. Now, let's talk. Sorry, Paul.
I was going to say no COD this year then.
No
COD. Do you think that means that Medal of Honor will come back from EA?
Could do, yeah.
You remember Medal of Honor?
Yeah.
That was a That was a good game, that was.
It was a good game. Now, before we go into our previews of what we like, I've got some breaking news. Would you like some breaking news, you lot?
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Breaking news straight while we were doing this podcast. Skull and Bones, favourite, James's favourite game, has been delayed again.
No way!
And
I thought you said it was news.
And it's been delayed to early 2023-24. So,
oh my!
Yeah, and
there's a big old delay there.
And also, Ubisoft have cancelled 3 unannounced projects. What they are, we don't know. And they basically said we've had a really bad year. We had a bad year. The Mario game had underperformed completely. As did,
is that the Rabbids one?
Yeah, and as did Just Dance as well.
Oh.
So it sounds like they're in a little bit of trouble there. And they haven't had much out. So yeah, there you go.
One of those unannounced ones I imagine will be the sequel to Immortals Phoenix Rising, which will be a shame because that was really good.
Yeah,
I did enjoy that. I thought that was really good. So better than these Assassin's Creed that they keep churning out.
I think Beyond Good and Evil 2, and that's one of them.
I don't think that game exists.
So that's
it's been announced. You're right. Sorry, yeah. Could be a Splinter Cell. Maybe it's gone.
Oh, yeah.
Because that didn't get announced, did
it? You just don't know, do you? There's so many things it could be.
What happened to that
an unannounced one?
Prince of Persia remake?
Did they announce it? Or
they announced that,
it
didn't
was meant to be out 2021 originally.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. God. Poor Ubisoft are in trouble.
Okay. Poor James.
Poor James. So he's got to wait for Skull and Bones for like that. That's never coming out of that game. It's never coming out. Right. Let's talk about 2023. Now we've picked 3 games each, and that we can just chat about and be excited about. Let's talk first of all. Richard, what's your big hitter first of all?
I mean, the fact that we've been told to pick 3 games for this entire year, when I could have picked 3 games coming out between now and Valentine's Day that I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah,
it's going to be such a strong year. Like you kept saying, this is the delay from COVID.
Yeah.
This is everything finally hitting now. My first one I'll mention is Like a Dragon Ishin, which is the next Yakuza game, if you will. A lot's changed though now, so they dropped the Yakuza name and will be known forward as Like a Dragon now, in line with Japan. And this one's set in the feudal age of Japan itself. So I think it's like 15th or 16th century, and it's based on a real person who was in that time period, but it's done in a typical Yakuza Like a Dragon way. So all the characters are modelled after protagonists from the mainline Yakuza games. There's still going to be karaoke. There's still going to be hilarious mini games and everything like it that people have come to expect. But it's a different take, and this itself is a remake or a remaster. I can't remember which one it is. They never made it outside of Japan because I think when they released it at the time, they weren't sure that some of the story beats would transfer to a Western audience as well. So, but yeah, very much looking forward to that. I think that's 20th of February, so not too long away.
No, it's getting busy.
I didn't know we had to come up with dates.
Yeah, that's right.
I know. Just hold the line. I just need to go do some homework.
Until it's delayed, that's the date for the time being.
Okay, right. Paul, what's your first one?
Hello. My first one is I know that your motto is never go back, Gareth, but I have to say Dead Space, the remake, looks amazing. And it is definitely coming out sometime in January, I want to say.
January the 30th or 31st, I think.
There you go. See, that's sometime
29th.
in January.
It's
So
29th, yeah.
Well, sometime in January will do. Let's not get bogged down with numbers. But, just I have such fond memories of playing the first one that I'm really looking forward to seeing what they can do on this generation of hardware now. It's going to be absolutely terrifying. The bits of it that I've seen, the atmosphere's all there. Isaac looks amazing. Not sure about the whole giving him a voice thing because he never had a voice in the first one.
But that's the whole point. They've got to move it forward, haven't they? Otherwise, you're just playing the same thing.
He was just I think the idea of the first game was that he was a blank canvas, and you could project yourself onto him.
Yeah.
Whereas if he's chatting away and he sounds like like Brad Pitt or whatever, you're not going to be able to do that. But we'll see. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt for now. And I'm just looking forward to getting my hands on it and chopping up some necromorphs. It's going to be amazing.
Good. You're not getting that game, Paul. You're not getting that game. We're all getting that game. We're all getting it instead.
Yeah.
There will be a massive rook in a car park somewhere for the review, though.
But I feel like because I did the Callisto Protocol.
Yeah.
It should be mine.
Well, I think that because you did the Callisto Protocol, you've kind of done your horror bit for the year. So now it needs to be somebody else.
Okay. I did listen to another podcast, would you believe? And I did get a bit depressed that they went through everything for 2023 and then they went, the things they're really looking forward to are Dead Space and Resident Evil 4 remake. I was like, oh my God. Really?
That's about right.
Yeah, good. That's coming out soon. I think my first one, and this leads us into the announcement that happened today. I'm going to say Starfield, of course. So we know, and we're going to be covering it here, is there's going to be a developers Xbox only conference. I think they've called it something a bit more snappier than that, on the January the 25th. And they're going to be talking about Redfall, hopefully with a release date, Forza, something else. Oh, Minecraft Legends, the new game coming out on Game Pass, and the Elder Scrolls Online game, which people like. So that's coming out on the 25th, but they've straight away said, and Starfield will have its own deep dive conference on its own quite soon afterwards. So there's two sides of the court. People are panicking that they think Starfield's going to be delayed again, even though they come out at the start of the year and said it's going to be released in the first half. And I am looking forward to this game like everyone else. Really excited to get my hands on this and just spend hours exploring it. I think it's the big kind of Xbox, exclusive game that I think is they probably want to get right. What do you think about this idea of them? We're not going to get a release date probably till their deep dive. Maybe we will. Maybe we'll get something in January anyway. What do you think, Richard? Starfield. When do you think it's going to come out? Well, Redfall. Yeah. May. Oh, good shout. Paul, what about you? You excited about it?
Well, I'm very excited. Skyrim in space. I can't wait. But I don't think it's going to be May. For some reason, I'm sort of leaning towards November in my head.
Oh, wow.
I know they've said that it's going to be first half of the year, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if it slipped just a tad.
Right. Okay.
I think it's ready to go. They're just doing all the bug squashing now, and I think with how 2023 is, they're almost looking for a quiet period when they can release it, and it'll have the biggest impact. Because
it's a system seller as well, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
That's the thing about it, isn't it? You're going to buy this with Game Pass on the console if you haven't got it already, and that's what they know. That it's got to be. I think you're right. They've got to have that right moment. And I think there's been some interesting things. There's lots of articles about testers saying it's brilliant. It's beyond expectations. So you don't know if that's Microsoft people telling you.
You're not. As far as I know, when you're a tester, you're not really supposed to say anything, are you?
No, you're not.
So it's a bit surprising that Microsoft wouldn't have gone, "Hey, we said no talking."
Yeah.
So
They're not going to shun that publicity, though, are they?
No.
Well, no, exactly.
If they were saying
That
it were
makes
awful,
me.
when they'd kick up a thing.
It just makes me wonder if it was perhaps just Microsoft going, "Let's just plant this story here."
Yeah.
So,
but I think it's going to be in this half. I do. I'm with Richard. I think they've got to. Because they made that commitment, didn't they? That in their conference when they went, "These are the games you're going to be playing in the next year." I think they will want to keep to that. We'll see.
Who's right?
We'll see. Yeah. Let's go. There's nothing else I can say about Starfield. It's going to be brilliant. I'm really looking forward to it. Richard, what's your second one?
Coffee Talk 2.
Oh, you like your Coffee Talk?
Coffee Talk is episode 2, hibiscus and not butterfly, something like that. One of the drinks you can make in it anyway. I'm currently replaying the first one again on my Switch. Absolutely love it. It's just the most chilled game for me. And yeah, I think this one's out in fairly soon as well. It's not got a firm release date, but I would expect that to be first half of this year as well now. And it's just a great world that it puts you in. It's very much a human world, but there's also these different different species, and how it's able to sort of deal with real world for us issues, but convey them into orcs and vampires and werewolves and everything else is impressive. I love the pixel art. I love the soundtrack. I just think I think it must be 3 years now since the first one. It's been a fair old wait.
Didn't the guy die? Who made it?
One of them did, yeah.
Right, yeah.
From Torge Productions, I think one of the founders had passed away.
Right.
Which probably will have led to the delay, thinking about it. But yeah, just really looking forward to that.
Good. Coffee Talk 2.
This is what's fascinating to me about video games. In a year where you've got like Starfield and Forza and Redfall and everything, one of the most anticipated games from one of the guys who knows most about games that I know is a little sort of indie game. I think it's fascinating how people's tastes are so different. Yeah, it's. I'm interested in your choice, Dobbo. I mean, I played the first one. I didn't think it was all that, but you obviously fell in love with it. So
I did. But don't get me wrong. I'm still looking forward to all those other games. I just thought, knowing who we are and what we're likely to pick, I'll put that one down.
Yeah. Good. Paul, your second one, please.
Hello. Well, I'm going to cheat a little here, and I'm going to sort of combine two into one because they're quite similar. I would like to look forward to Wo Long. I think it's Forbidden something. I can't remember the full name of it. And also Lies of P, because they're both sort of, the sort of From Software action RPG fighty games that both look like they bring something different to the table, but are also quite similar. So, yeah, I think both of those games are going to be interesting. The Wo Long one, because it seems to be more sort of Chinese history, I think. And also the Lies of P, because it's a new retelling of the whole Pinocchio kind of tale. I think they both look like they're going to be something interesting.
Both on Game Pass. I think Wo Long's coming out March the 3rd.
Isn't Wo Long this month?
No, it's March the 3rd.
Is it March?
And then the other one hasn't got a date yet, but it did say spring. But yeah, absolutely. They both look. I had a go at. I think I went when I went to one of the. What did I go to? One of those things, and I had a go at that for a little bit. Maybe I had
Which one?
Wo Long.
Oh, is it good? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was good. It was hard as hell. It was really hard.
Excellent.
I mean,
well, that's
you
want, isn't it?
But I think they say you can change the difficulty level. It's not like From Software when it's just one. I think so. But for when I played it, they didn't. It was like full on.
We'll put it on. We'll put it on manly setting and
Put it on
see how
easy for me.
Gareth
Nice
gets
and
on.
easy. That's what I like. My set is easy. Good. Yeah, they're really exciting. Two big games there. I'm going to change mine around because I'm going to just talk. We've talked Redfall a bit. I'm looking forward to Redfall. We'll see a bit more about it. And I was going to say Atomic Heart, of course, but that's coming out soon. I'm really looking forward to that. But I'm going to talk about things that are coming out in the next kind of three weeks or so, I think. So my first one is going to be, I'm quite excited about the Hogwarts game. Yeah, I'm up for this. I want to play this. And I'm just getting, I kind of look at it. I like it looks great. I think it's going to be, probably is going to be ropey, but I want a good open world. I think it's going to be my little February exciting game. Yeah, I'm going to put that up there. Hogwarts Legacy. Richard's with me, aren't you, Richard?
I am. I just think from what I've seen, the scope of this game just looks incredible. And it's almost a shame that it's coming out in such a crammed part of the year, because I think you could be playing that for many hours. Yeah.
I think I'm going to get that.
Did you see the news about it today as well?
About Simon Pegg?
Yeah.
He's one of the professors, isn't he? Head teacher. There you go. Yeah, I think it'll be fun. Paul's not excited, but we're going to enjoy it.
I've never got the whole Harry Potter thing, to be honest. I've never read the books. I didn't like the films.
In a weird way, I'm not worried about it's not the Harry Potter. I think it's just an open world adventure. It just looks a bit. I think that's what excites me, and also with wands, and there's lots to do. And I think I always like it. It just looks good.
You're a wizard, Gareth.
I'm a wizard. Right, good. Let's go to our third choice game, and let's do Richard first. What's your third one, Richard? I think we know what it is.
Yeah, it's my very big one for this year is Final Fantasy 16, which at the moment is 22nd of June. I'm not confident it will be released then. I think it will be delayed by a few months.
Okay.
But I've seen the trailers that have come out for it. I'm trying not to read too much stuff because I almost want to go into it a bit blind. Obviously, it's because it's Final Fantasy. That's why it's my most anticipated game this year. It's been coming up to 7 or 8 years since 15 release now, I think.
Has it been that long?
I want to say 2015.
I think don't feel that long, does it? Maybe I'm just getting old and time's going fast. Can I just check though? It's PlayStation exclusive, yeah?
Yeah, it's PS5, yeah.
Yeah, because I saw a thing. I don't know whether it was a tweet or a quote from one of the developers of Final Fantasy 16 today. And even though it's meant to be a timed exclusive, his advice to consumers was to buy a PS5.
It was, I saw that. It was all the PC gamers as well. They just have this like, oh, well, it must be coming to PC. And it was like, well, I can't say whether it is or not. So if you want to play it, just buy a PS5.
Yeah, I find that a little upsetting. I think I would like to play it on the Xbox. Mainly because I can't afford a PS5, but you know.
Well, that's what Sony are doing, aren't they? It's been widely publicised with this whole Xbox Activision thing that Sony are buying up exclusives and stopping them from being released on other consoles, which is probably why we've still not got Final Fantasy VII Remake on Xbox. Although with you starting that, I'm hopeful that it's just going to be dropped at any point.
Well, yeah, they're not going to. They're not bringing Bloodborne either, are they? From Software are keeping that on the PlayStation as well. I understand.
Yeah,
I think because Sony publish that though as well.
Not sure.
Good.
That's what they tend to do.
Anyway, so yeah, I'm glad you're looking forward to a PlayStation exclusive game.
I'm a bit skeptical about it because From what I have seen, it looks a bit like Final Fantasy 12, which I didn't get along with story-wise.
That's the only thing. I think every time I see a trailer for it, it doesn't look as good. The first trailer I really liked, and the last trailer I was like, oh, I don't know why, but it would do something. It would do something amazing. Good. Let's do Paul. Let's do your last game.
Hello. Yes, my last game is the big one for me this year, and it's Forza Motorsport, the new one. It just looks, from everything I've seen so far, it looks amazing. I was a little underwhelmed by GT7 on the PS4, if I'm absolutely honest. So, yeah, seeing Forza Motorsport coming to the Series X, it's just something I am very much looking forward to. And I'm really looking forward to the 25th now, if we're going to be seeing more of it.
We'll probably get a date as well.
I think it's going to be something pretty special. You know, if they can take the success of Forza Horizon 5 and build on that, then yeah, it's going to be something very, very special indeed, I think.
As long as they don't have that Prague laugh again, I'll be happy.
Listen, that Prague track is quite good. I like that track. You just have to be able to steer.
New pretty tracks, that's what I want. Yes, good. Forza, yeah, we'll get a release date, hopefully, won't we? Maybe April or something.
Looking forward to it, yes.
Interestingly, just to link it in quickly to a news article, so that Forza Horizon developers, a few of them have left Playground Games to form their own studio, which is interesting. It's interesting to see what happens to the next Forza Horizon game. Because they're going to be doing something else. They're going to be working on an open world game. And of course, Playground are also doing Fable, aren't they, at the moment as well?
They are, yes.
So it'd be interesting to see what's happened to that Forza Horizon franchise. They're not going to let it go, of course, but it's begin to see who's doing it. Maybe they've got something already, but yeah, like you said, with this Forza game coming out now, we might have to wait for a couple of years. Rather than, we were sort of getting the Horizon games every couple of years, wasn't we, for a while?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe
we're still waiting for some more DLC for that, though, aren't we, as well?
There is a second pack due to drop at some stage, yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to do my last game, which is going to be... I'm going to do it in the next few weeks, I said about Hogwarts. I'm going to do Deliver Us Mars. And I played Deliver Us the Moon. I remember going to... Just before COVID dropped, I went to watch the developers. They showcased it in this little office in London, and people were starting to talk about this disease coming from China. I remember that. So, and I played Deliver Us the Moon, and I think I might have reviewed it, the first one, not the Series X version. And I really loved it. It was a little kind of brilliant little puzzle, first-person adventure. You know, you rocket a ship into to the moon and you explore what's happening on the spaceship. And this is from the same people, Deliver Us Mars, much more sort of like interesting, more developed visuals, a different story. There seems to be a bit more to it this time as well. And did you do Deliver Us the Moon Series X review, Richard?
No, I've not played it.
No, it's really good. And so that's coming out, I think it's coming out February the 3rd, so it's really close. But that looks great. I'm really into that as well. There's so much coming out. We've only covered a few little bits here, but there's millions of games coming out between now and June we know about before, without even talking about the second half of the year, which we'll get to later on.
Yeah.
So hopefully, cross fingers, 2023 is going to be an exciting one with this gen games at last. Now, before we go, what are we looking forward to next week? Richard, what are you looking forward to?
I'm dog sitting on Saturday. That's exciting as my life gets. My dad's going to a wedding, so we're looking after his dog. It just means that we need to keep it separate from the rabbits.
Oh, yeah. God, yeah. Yeah, do that. Dog sitting for Richard. Paul, what have you got to up this?
I'm not sure I can beat dog sitting. But basically at work now we have a huge project kicking off where I have to replace the entirety of the wireless infrastructure in our warehouse. And the warehouse is about the size of, shall we say, 3 football pitches, and it is about 40 feet high. So, and of course, the access points are nailed to the roof. So there'll be much whizzing about the place in scissor lifts and stuff. It's going to be very exciting.
Yeah. How long you got to do that? What's your timer?
Well, that's a good question. Until today, it had to be completed by the 21st of January, and now it's starting to slip a little.
Right.
So, yeah, we shall wait and see. Watch this space.
This is taking over health updates. Right.
Absolutely.
Wi-Fi updates. Good. And I think I'm looking forward to next week is the TV premiere, I think, of The Last of Us. I think is out next week on HBO, which will be on Sky TV or Now TV next week. It's got some brilliant.
Like The Last of Us.
It's got some brilliant reviews. So it's by the maker, by also the Chernobyl people as well. So it's getting some really great reviews. So I'm looking forward to watching that. Right, gentlemen, thank you so much. Now, if we need to get hold of you, find you, where do we get you, Paul?
I am on the Twitter, and my handle is at TheXboxHub.
And Richard, where can we get you?
On the Twitter and Instagram, and my handle is at Bubba1912.
And you can find me on most things on GB Friday on Twitter, Twitch, and other things. But for now, until next week, welcome back, Happy New Year, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Happy New Year.
Bye.
Goodbye.
You've been listening to the official podcast of TheXboxHub.com. You had found all the notes of this show at www.TheXboxHub.com/podcast. You can also check out our social feeds on Instagram and Twitter at The Xbox Hub, and search for The Xbox Hub on Facebook.